gentlemen, coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. And ladies and gentlemen, I have never been more excited for an episode than I am right now, because coming in is our first guest in the history of the show. And I thought there is nobody better than this man right here. I've been talking sports with this guy for almost 15 years at this point. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some of you old heads listening, but I'm only in my late teens. I've known this kid since I was 4 or 5 years old growing up. He is an exceptional sports mind. He is a broadcaster for the North Bay Battalions of the OHL. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Samuel Boivin, wherever you are.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you.
So
it's great to be here.
It's great to have you. I'm so excited about this. So before I get into, shooting the, you know what I mean, shooting the and getting your opinion on different stuff, I want you to tell us a bit about your broadcasting experience and what you did for the team while you were there.
Yes. So I did broadcasting for the OHL's North Bay Battalion. Shout out Frontline Podcast. Did intermissions and we do interviews for the team, as well as play-by-play and commentary. So that was my role. I was doing that, and it was fun. It was a great experience. I did it for their junior affiliates as well, the Powassan Voodoos. So it was just a great learning experience. I'm here today. We're going to have a great job. I got a lot of sports knowledge, and Elijah knows that. I'm excited to display what I've got. So
I would say almost as much as me. You're almost on that level. You're almost there.
I would say we're similar.
I think different areas. I think hockey, you probably got me by a bit. I think I got you by a mile in football, and then basketball were pretty similar. But I want to start with probably your top sport, and that is the NHL and your favorite team, the Vancouver Canucks. Do you want to just tell the people real quick why you're a Canucks fan, even though you're living in Ontario right now?
Yes. So I was born in Langley, grew up a Canuck fan all my life, and then around my early switched my allegiance to the Blackhawks because of Patrick Kane. And when I moved back to Ontario, I kind of found myself watching the Canuck games more and more, and less of the Blackhawks. And that's when I switched my allegiance back to the Canucks, where I belong, back home. And now I'm a full-time Canuck fan. I don't really have a second favorite team, and I'm just excited about the future of the Canucks.
So full-time bandwagoner.
Some put it that way. I would put it as full-time, lifelong Canuck fan. I don't know how you came to be a Washington fan. So,
well, listen, that's not the topic of this podcast right now. All right, I'm the host, not you. So your Canucks just recently traded for Nikita Zadorov from the Flame for a third and a fifth. Hopefully they're adding some depth to what is still probably their weak point, their defense. I want to know, what are your thoughts on this trade? What kind of impact do you think he'll have on the Canucks specifically for this season? Because he is a UFA after this year.
Yes, he is a UFA. He has $3.5 million left on his contract. So it's not a great deal, but it's not a terrible deal for the Canucks. Obviously, we moved Beauvillier's contract. We got a fifth in return for that from Chicago. I see it as a massive improvement to a blue line that has struggled in the past, but has really improved this year. Definitely under Rick Tocchet's system. It's defensively, it's much more sound. You see a lot less 2-on-1s. I think he's a big body defenseman, and I like the acquisition by the Canucks.
So you don't think you have too many big body defensemen at this point? It's because I don't want to bring this up because I know this brings back terrible memories for you and terrible future memories for you, but you still have Tyler Myers on that blue line.
Yeah, he hasn't looked terrible this year. He hasn't looked awful.
Okay, so that's fine then. I want to get more general thoughts. So the Canucks, they lost 4-1 to the Knights last night, but with that loss, they're still sitting at 15-8-1. They are firmly in control of their own destiny at this point. You and I kind of had a small conversation about this. We both think they're going to be a really good to great regular season team, but let's be honest, that's not what you play for in the NHL. So what do you think their ceiling is when the playoffs come around?
Well, when we talked last time, I think I was a lot higher on them, and now after the Vegas game and after the recent games against the Ducks, we haven't played as solid as I thought we were going to play for the remainder of the season. We started super strong, stronger than we probably should have. We're starting to peter off, and it's unfortunate because I want to like this team and I want to cheer for this team, and I know we're 15-8-1, but I get this feeling every year as a Canuck fan. It comes around that the team's going to fall off. We're going to start losing close games, and we're going to start playing bad. And unfortunately, I have this feeling in my gut right now about this team this year. So I'm not feeling too excited.
The Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. What did I tell you? what can go wrong, it feels like will go wrong for these Canucks at some point. Like you guys haven't gotten off to this good of a start since the Sedin twins were in their prime. And with
Yes,
how much
yeah.
they've improved so quickly, you just don't feel like it's going to be sustainable when you play a team like a Vegas or even an LA right now, who they have playoff experience and you guys don't. Besides that one bubble year, which doesn't count because the Habs went to the finals. Like what?
That counts. It counts. Demko played on his head that year.
Yeah, but
Demko played on his head. This team doesn't have experience. I think we talked about this. This team does not have playoff experience as a unit. So that's why I don't think they'll go far. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think like even if they go 500 for the remainder of the season, they're going to get a spot based on the points they can get. I think this team will make the. I think it would win around. I think their ceiling is the second round. If I'm being honest, it's the second round.
Their ceiling is the second round.
Their ceiling is the second round. If you look at how we're set up, and the Zadorov trade obviously helped us, but if you look at how we're set up, I watched the game last night against Vegas. It was 1:00 when the game finished. I stayed up all night watching it. Here's what happened. The Stars played worse than the depth players, and that's been consistent for the past 10 games. There was a time in the second period where I was watching the game. Dakota Joshua came in on a rush. He got a good shot. It was the Bluger, Joshua, Garland line. They've played great under Tocchet. And I watched and I was like, wow, these guys are really putting in work. And then I realized this is the fourth line and they're playing better than the first line.
Mm-hmm.
A winning team can't have that. At least consistently, they can't have that. They can do that a couple games. It helps them win games. Your depth has to be good if you want to win games.
Totally.
But their top line has not been performing up to standard. And it's just unfortunate because their points have really gone up from all the San Jose and the Edmonton blowout. They're inflated. They're stat padded. And that's the honest truth. And it's just sucks, man. It sucks.
That's a perfect pivot into my next question. You talked about their first line and their superstars. So Pettersson is currently 6th in MVP voting and 6th in points this year. What do you think the odds are he wins the Hart Trophy this year? And if you don't think he will, who is your pick to take it home?
Well, I would say his odds are about as they should be right now. If I were to pick, although I go Quinn Hughes has been our most valuable player in the Canucks. Demko has played very well. JT Miller has played well, but definitely my pick would be Hughes for our MVP of our team. And I think Pettersson's odds are just going to decrease as the year goes on. I think I would have gone Jack Hughes at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, as it stands, I'd probably go Nikita Kucherov just because his point totals are insane. Lightning team that was supposed to have, depreciated after last taking a step back and losing to the Maple Leafs. So I think I go Nikita Kucherov right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's hard to bet against that guy at this point, to be honest with you. His team's so good, and he's just such the focal point of that first line with Stamkos and those other guys. And if Vasilevsky comes back, I mean, it's going to be hard for the Lightning to be stopped this year again, to be honest with you. I hate the Lightning. I hate their jerseys. I hate their team. I hate their fans, but God, they're so good at hockey. It's so annoying. By the way,
I don't like their fans.
I want to break off this real quick. Their logo, it is top 5 worst logos in the NHL easily. You have to change the one color of the logo for each jersey. That thing sucks, especially when you have some of the nicest jerseys of all time in your past. It's bad.
They have what I think might be best retro logo. I think there's it's perfect.
Totally agree. It's perfect. It really is. So speaking of perfect,
and instead of using a copycat Leafs jersey.
No, they actually are though. Yeah, speaking of perfect, you're probably going to disagree with that transition, but I'm going to go with it anyways. You're a big NBA guy. We love talking about Jordan and LeBron, but I just want to talk about the former instead of the latter on this one. So LeBron is averaging 25, 8, and 6 right now on 56% shooting at age 38. Whereas your guy, Michael Jordan, was in Atlantic City gambling and drinking Hennessy in his second retirement. So this has to have changed your opinion on the GOAT debate a little bit, right? By the way, for everyone listening, Sam is an adamant Michael Jordan supporter in the GOAT debate. This had to have changed your opinion at least a little bit, right? Seeing a guy at age 38 do this in year 21.
Yeah, Jordan is still the greatest of all time. I don't think it's disputable, even though you choose to disagree. I don't think LeBron James, although he is what he's doing at his age I don't think has ever been seen before. Definitely not. And he's doing something like I said, hasn't been done before. It's exceeding my expectations of what what I thought he was going to be at 38 years old. I remember, what was that tweet that I saw? It was like, LeBron's turning 30 now, so we don't have much longer of this. And then, 10 years later almost, and he's still, I think he's putting up better numbers than he was then. But it doesn't change my opinion on the whole thing. One still has 6 rings. One only has, what is it? What, one, 2, 3, 1,
Oh my gosh.
4. I know.
You just can't get over
But
that.
it's not that. It's not the rings. It's the legacy. LeBron James, he just doesn't have the legacy. We're talking about the greatest. We're not talking about the best here. If we're talking about the best, I might do all around player. LeBron might win. We're talking about the greatest player of all time. Jordan was better at his peak. He was better in the playoffs. He's better all time.
You just can't see the light, can you? Because you're so blinded by this Jordan cloud that has been over the NBA for 35 years that tells you from when you're a wee child that this guy was the best player we've ever seen. When in actuality, we've got a new guy who's come along, who's bigger, faster, stronger, has done it for longer, has done it with multiple franchises, and is now doing it in year 21. By the way, let me just throw this out to you real quick. This is off the top of my head, but I do know this to be a fact. How many players do you think have played in year 21? Not even recorded stats, just played. Give me a guess.
3.
The answer is 5.
3. I'll give you 3.
And the most points someone has averaged in year 21 is 3 points, 3 or 5 points a game, one of the two. LeBron's on 25, 8, and 6 right now on crazy efficiency.
It's a different league. Different league.
Because of him.
Less physical league.
Oh my gosh.
Less physical.
Do I have to DM you that video again of Jordan playing against firefighters and
Jordan was
plumbers on
just
defense?
so
These
ahead
white
of his
guys.
time. So good. Jordan was just so good, so ahead of his time, did moves that no one's ever seen before, that it just confused the defenders. That's how good he was.
Whatever. Okay, well, since you're hopeless on that topic, I'll move on to my next one. As you are a big NBA fan and you're not just an NBA historian, you keep up with it. I want to know, coming out of the East and the West, who do you think is going to be the NBA representative from each of those conferences in the finals? And who do you think is going to win the finals this year?
Well, I want to start with the West because the West is actually going to be the team that wins the NBA championship. It's going to be the Dallas Mavericks.
Whoa!
The Dallas Mavericks.
What did I just hear?
You heard it here first.
No, you heard it here first. I've been saying this. I can't believe
you've been saying that.
I've been on the Mavs for years.
No, they're it. They are this. They are it this year.
Tell me why
it is, but they're it. They've got a great system, right? And they have, in my opinion, the best player in the league, Luka. Luka is the best player in the league.
Let's go, Sam.
He's just the best. He's just the
best.
best. Statistically, he's the best. He's been more efficient this year. He's grown into a leader this year. I like the strides that the Mavericks have taken this year, and I'm just so all in on the Dallas Mavericks. They're just the only team I see coming out of the West.
Talk to them. Okay, I wanna give a quick counterpoint. I got really excited when you said Luka's the best player, but in actuality, if we're going by my power rankings right now, I've got Jokic at 1, Giannis at 2, Luka at 3. Just because those guys have won titles and won MVPs already, it's hard for me to put them above those guys yet. Although, from what you and I are saying, from a game-to-game basis, just watching them, he is just as good as those guys are, if not better, especially offensively.
I think I'm just fatigued with Giannis and Jokic. It's been 3 years. I understand their greatness, but I want to see someone new take over. I want to see, it's Luka's moment to shine. Yeah. It's his moment. And they're trying to take it from him. What do you, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. What do you mean? Are you
I thought you were an Embiid fan.
No, this guy might be the biggest, he might be a bigger flopper than LeBron. This guy slaps himself in his own face, flops on the ground like he's been shot, and then complains to the refs. I don't want to hear it. He's 7'1" and he acts like he's 5'6". It's crazy. He's 300 pounds and he acts like he's 100 pounds. Come on, Philadelphia, be real. We got the worst fans, you got the worst franchise, and you guys got the worst players. I don't want to hear it. I like Maxey though.
They haven't been to a conference final since Dr. J retired. That's a fun fact. Actually, no, they've been to one. That Allen Iverson year. That one. Yeah. Other than that, haven't even been to the conference finals. Yeah. That's a fun fact.
What was it? 2000? 2001? I can't really remember.
I thought it was 01. Yeah, 01. Because the Lakers beat the Blazers for their first of the three-peat. And they beat the Sixers. Anyways, I want to do one football topic as I said, I absolutely smoke you on every NFL topic, so I don't want to make you look too bad. But your Seahawks.
I like the NFL. I'm getting better.
I know, but you're not getting better at fantasy football, which is something I would like to bring up, but the fans don't care about. But I want to talk about your Seahawks.
We can bring it up.
You're not bringing it up. Okay, Seahawks, they lost a tight one to the Cowboys last night.
Yes.
Currently, they're sitting just barely in a playoff spot, but a bunch of teams coming up on them in the NFC, including a terrible NFC South team, which will make the playoffs, Cowboys in the wild card, etc. Do you think the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs with their hellacious schedule left in the season?
I do not think they're going to make the playoffs. This Seahawks team, although on the surface they're similar to last year, I don't think they should have been where they were last year, and I think that they're overperforming again this year. They're not a very good team, and they've just got lucky. I'll say that.
Okay, let me comment a little bit more. Geno Smith has turned back into what we all thought he was going to be before last season. Last season, he played like undisputedly a top 10 quarterback. His numbers and everything like that were just so much above what we thought. And we thought he was going to be a pretty average quarterback going into the year. He wasn't going to hurt you. He wasn't going to really help you. This year, he has been just that. He has been fine. But the problem is with these Seahawks, DK Metcalf is a really, really good physical wide receiver. He's not a very good technical receiver. So he's more of a wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1. Tyler Lockett is a very good technical receiver, but not a very good physical receiver. Again, not a wide receiver 1, more of a wide receiver 2. Jackson Smith-Njigba hasn't been that superstar that we thought he was going to be coming out of Ohio State. He's been fine. But without that top weapon to stretch the defense, it's been tough for Smith to fit it in those windows. His offensive line has been banged up. Also, the thing that's been most fascinating to me about Seattle is their defense and how many rookies they played last year and how it's regressed to this season. Like when I came into the year, I have a lot of Seahawks friends, as you know, in this area. Everyone's kind of a Seahawks fan. Like they were coming in telling me that they're going to be a top 5 defense. And it was hard for me to disagree with Woolen in the secondary and a bunch of rookies playing. Their pass rush got better. And it's just regressed. And I think what that has to do with is they haven't been able to get pressure with 4. And what that's allowing people to do is just dice them up with 4 or 5. Like there were a couple times yesterday where Dak had 5 seconds to throw the freaking ball. You can't win that way. You just can't win that way. I still think they're going to make the playoffs because the NFC is a lot weaker than the AFC is this year. But I think they play the Lions in the first round and get smoked by 20. I know they beat us earlier in the season. That was a different Seahawks team.
Well, I think we talked recently about the Lions and the Seahawks, and you know that I don't feel extremely confident with the Lions going up against the Seahawks. I don't really feel confident about the Lions going up against anyone in the playoffs since we have no experience there. And I agree with everything you're saying. Obviously, you rambled for a little bit, and I like that. I like that you have so much knowledge about the sport. So thank you for giving me an insight on that, because I was unfortunately I was blindly unaware about just the Seahawks' lack of defense this year. I have them this week in fantasy, and I didn't realize. And I had Dak as well, though. So
he must have like 40, right?
He did have 40. He did have 40. Yeah. And the
CB
Seahawks
with
put
26. Tristan was pissed.
Well, I don't really, trust Tristan with fantasy. No, not gonna lie.
He's garbage. He talks so much every year too.
He took Jacoby Myers in the 4th round last year.
Never forget that.
Last year. Oh my gosh. Well, that had me laughing. I had to go on mute. Oh my gosh. That was crazy.
Okay, I wanna wrap it up with this. I want to ask you, do you have any topics that you want to discuss right now? I know you have such diverse sports knowledge. Anything that comes to mind that you want to talk about on such a large platform?
NFL MVP. I want to get into it.
Okay.
I want to ask you, who's the front runner right now? Is there a clear front runner?
Okay. I'm so glad you asked about this because I have a lot of thoughts on this. I won't go for too long, but there is no front runner. That's the first thing. Absolutely not. There is no one person who I look at their stats, their season, how they've played, their Pro Football Focus grade, and I'm like, wow, which is so rare because the last few years, last year was clearly Mahomes. Year before that, Rodgers, Lamar had a crazy season. Like it was pretty obvious going into the last 3-4 weeks of the season who the 2-3 guys were going to be to win MVP.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got to be honest. And as much as I like genuinely, this is going to hurt as it comes out of my mouth. Dak Prescott might be the MVP right now. He really might be. Like, the way he's been seeing the field with his stupid, here we go cadence. But his CD Lamb has been playing unbelievable. He's been playing like a top 3 receiver. I think Cooks has been a phenomenal wide receiver too since about week 5. Great pickup. And overall, just the way this Cowboys team has been playing, they won a shootout against Seattle, which is the one way we hadn't seen them win a game yet. Now, here is the thing against Dak, though. He literally hasn't beaten a team with a winning record besides the Seahawks. So it's hard for me to give him the award and be like, yeah, congrats, once he beat up on these cupcakes. But if you want my actual MVP pick, like who has been the best player, I don't think it should be a pure quarterback award. That's an opinion I've had forever. Myles Garrett's the MVP because he has been so impactful for a Cleveland Browns team that's 7-3 right now, somehow, with a destitute quarterback situation. And he's been by far the most dominant player on defense besides TJ Watt, but his team isn't good enough. And the Browns defense has been the best defense all year. And I think it's top 3 right now. So if you're going to ask me my MVP, Myles Garrett. If you're going to give me a quarterback only, which it has been for the past, 10 plus years, it's Dak right now. And I hope he doesn't win it. Like, I got to be honest. I hope he doesn't win it because he's not an MVP level quarterback. He's just not. I know he's playing like it, but he's not.
He's not. Thank you for saying that because, believe it or not, I have pretty much the exact same opinion as you do. This is not a quarterback only award. Okay. I'm sick and tired of it being a quarterback only award. Adrian Peterson was the last non-quarterback to win the award, right? There is not a single quarterback who is deserving of this award this year. Patrick Mahomes, you're going to tell me you're going to give Patrick Mahomes it on a down year? He's having a bad year. You're going to give him MVP. Jalen Hurts has not played as MVP this year. And earlier in the year, we had Brock Purdy in the conversation. Brock Purdy.
No.
Brock Purdy. Be serious. They're not going to give it to CJ Stroud. Dak has played well. But again, as you said, he has not beat, apart from the Seahawks, a team above 500. I agree that it shouldn't go to a quarterback. But if you look at the stats, I think Christian McCaffrey has a good.
Oh my gosh!
A good. You know what he has.
He's a fantasy football stud. He's not an MVP.
No, he is.
He's not the best player on that offense.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
As a runner, he sees things and sees holes. He's super agile. He gets there quick. He's above every running back in the league, pass catching running back in the league.
Are you going to tell me right now that he is more valuable to that offense than Trent Williams is? Because I don't think that's true.
I think it is. I think it is. I think that the NFL underrates. I think they underrate their running backs. I think that they're nowhere without McCaffrey, without someone who Purdy can just hand the ball off to, or can just check it in. They would be nowhere. I'm sorry.
They made it to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row without him, with Elijah Mitchell as their running back and Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback. What are you talking about?
Well, I think their defense was better than it.
And the Super Bowl.
Jimmy G played out of his freaking mind to get them there. Okay? He played out of his freaking mind. Christian McCaffrey's putting up MVP type numbers. I will say, I don't really like Myles Garrett personally, since he hit Mason Rudolph in the head with his helmet.
You can't get over that, eh?
It's just assault. It's just assault. That's what it is. I'm not gonna lie. It's just assault. But I will say this year he's been extremely impressive to me. I would not mind if he was the MVP this year, despite the fact that he physically assaulted, practically attacked a harmless, defenseless, weak Mason Rudolph.
Stop it.
Weak.
He's not
weak. He's weak. Mason Rudolph.
Okay, and I'll end it off with this quick pick. Niners or Eagles this week. America's game of the week. You got the Niners?
I got the Niners. Christian McCaffrey, 4 touchdowns, 150 yards from scrimmage, total yards. He will solidify himself as a MVP favorite.
Since when are you such a Christian McCaffrey fanboy? You don't even have him in fantasy.
No, I don't. I don't have him in fantasy, but I just feel bad because he played for the Panthers and now he's in San Francisco. So now I'm feeling happy for him. He deserves this.
Well, he's deserved. Hey, I learn more about you every day. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Your knowledge and just humor and everything was so much appreciated. I'm sure the people loved it too.
Thank you for your generosity.
I'm gonna give you some time right here. Tell the people what you got going on. Tell them what your social media is. Tell them to give you a follow. All that.
Well, I'm not gonna promote myself because I'm kind of private guy on social media and stuff like that.
Attaboy.
But I would like to take this opportunity to thank Elijah for having me on. Run up the streams on this episode. Get him up, man. I'm gonna promote this on my social media. Get him up. I've been going around telling everyone my buddy's got a podcast. I want everyone to do that as well. Get this guy's streams up, man. He deserves it. He's hustling out here. Okay. I love this guy to death, man. I appreciate everything he's done for my life. I just love this guy. I want to see him succeed.
You're an absolute beauty, bud. Thank you so much for your time.
So are you, buddy.
All right. Thank you. And from the Vancouver Spit Studios, we will see you in the next one. Peace out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Spit Sports Show. You can follow us on all social medias at the Spit Sports Show, or check out our website at thespitsportshow.com, where we have weekly articles on the biggest stories in sport. Thank you guys so much again for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.